Hello, everyone. This is Getting Your Edge, How to Right Size Your Home and Life podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Day, along with our co-host, Judy Gratton. Judy, say hello.
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 Summer.
And we are here to help you right size your life. We like to say less house, more home, and discover downsizing with us, because our episode here today is talking about downsizing into a retirement community. I have our guest today is Cayce Miller. He is the sales manager of the Fairwinds Brighton Court, Lynnwood assisted living retirement community. And he's here to tell us about his community and about retirement communities in general. And he'll have some questions. We'll have some questions for him. So welcome, Cayce. Why don't you start out by telling us a little about yourself and your role? Full disclosure, Cayce is my nephew. He's got good information for us.
Because he's your nephew, right?
Yes, just because.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much. A little bit about me. I've actually been in this role here for 1 year, just a little over 1 year now. And actually, the last 20 years in a completely different profession. I found this job on one of those Google job search. I don't want to use their name probably, but this was suggested to me as a good fit. So I applied, and I knew the moment I walked through the door that I wanted to work at Fairwinds Brighton. So I've been here a little over a year now. And I absolutely love a little bit about what I do. My job is to reach out to future residents, to family members, and really bridge that gap in helping people take the next step into retirement living and removing those roadblocks. And really, it's about creating a culture in our community as well. My job is to really, what I sense when I walk through the door is try to find a way to create that same culture for other people when they walk through the door, that they want to live here. And also I do fun activities. I team up with our activity coordinator here, and we think of creative new fun activities to bring people in and showcase what we do have to offer.
Do you invite people to your activities from outside?
Absolutely. In fact, I created events just for them, something that we haven't seen before, try to bring new people in with different creative activities. Yeah, absolutely.
Could you give us an example of something recent?
Sure. We have a bistro, and in our bistro, we are doing an event called Forgotten Spirits. And what it is, forgotten cocktails over the course of history. So we do a little research and on these cocktails, and then we make them and do a presentation on these cocktails, and then give out some samples of food. And it's just a fun way to bring people into something maybe they hadn't thought of.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your facility and, what sets it apart from others in the area, do you think?
Sure. Really, I think it's a way of thinking of how I mentioned when I walk through the door, a culture, but really it starts with ownership. And our community has been owned by the same local family for 35 years, which really creates a lot of stability. And the thought process, and something we think of every day when we start thinking of how we operate, is under this Prime Fit Wellness program. And the way, when you think of Prime Fit, a lot of people think health, right? Like the activity, the physical portion. But there's so much more to health and well-being. So we talk about it being a physical, we talk about it being mental, emotional, social, and communal. And then having a good balance of different events throughout our community that can really fulfill all those areas of need in people's health. And I think that's unique. I think when you start looking into communities, it's just something unique that we bring, a thought process of who we are.
And what type of amenities and services are you offering to the residents there, and how do they enhance the quality of their lives?
Yeah, really, when you break it down, a lot of people move in because they're lonely. They have loneliness at home, bridging that gap to helping them get a little bit more involved in specific things that will help them feel more at home. And it's going to be different for everybody.
You have apartments, or what type of living setup is it for people?
Yeah, great question. So we actually have 182 apartments in our community.
Oh, wow.
We are actually independent living and have assisted living here in our community. We have what's called a floating license. So what that means is in the majority of our apartments, there is the ability to live in that apartment independently with no assisted living care, but you can age in place a little bit. So if you ever do need any help or extra care, that license is there and we can provide that extra service when needed. And that can come and go. Somebody that moves in from maybe a rehab community might need a little bit higher level of care, but once they have recovered, their baseline might be completely independent. So it gives people that flexibility and option.
That's great.
So what kinds of things talked about the food? The food is so important because there you got it 3 times a day. And if it's awful, it can be a difficult experience for somebody living there. So tell us about how you serve the food and what options the residents have.
What's nice here, and I actually eat gluten-free. I do not have a celiac, but I just feel like I feel better eating gluten-free. And a lot of people that come in and tour are experiencing that same type of living. So variety. We have 2 different places to eat throughout the community. So we have a bistro that's going to serve more like soup, salad, sandwiches kind of thing, milkshakes, special coffees, things like that. And then we have a full restaurant as well, and that will serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We actually have a full menu. On top of the menu, which is seasonal. For dinner, there's always a steak option, a fish option, and lots to choose from. And then we'll have 2 specials of the day to choose from, and special desserts, or a soup, a vegetable of the day, a soup of the day, a salad of the day. But you're right, cooking for 182 people can be a challenge. One thing, we have a box where people can voice their concerns. It's important you can't get better if you don't know. Mm-hmm. And Cal, our head chef, is amazing here. He takes time out. I see him all the time, taking time out of his day to sit with residents to learn. And you're right, food's very social. We have a lot of activities around food. So it's very important.
And you can handle dietary needs, gluten-free, low sodium, vegetarian, things like that. Are you able to handle those types of things?
We actually have a vegetarian menu as well, which is great. Gluten-free is actually a topic that's a little more challenging. Mm-hmm. To be true gluten-free, a community has to have really a separate kitchen. So we can handle a gluten-free bread and options for them, but to completely remove the possibility of cross-contamination, it's very challenging. And I don't know many communities that can completely offer that. Right. But our computer system is great because we can put in dietary restrictions, and then it'll actually won't let us put in anybody's order without it alerting us, letting us know that there's an ingredient. We have one resident here allergic to garlic. That's a very challenging one. But she's lived here a long time, and we've been able to manage that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the average age of people at Fairwinds Brighton Court?
So I think that's changed a little bit with COVID. It was early 80s. Obviously, you can move in at the age of 62 in our community, but the average age is in the 80s right now. And I think that went up a couple of years with people really just wanting to stay in their home during those COVID years as long as they could. And then on the flip side, we saw maybe a little bit more loneliness from that as well, isolation. And there's two sides of that health coin, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
How about pets? Do you allow people to bring their pets?
We do. We have a pet policy. There are some limitations. Can't bring a poisonous snake.
You can bring any snake? Oh, no.
But two cats, small dogs, something that people can handle is important. Always on a leash. So we do have a little bit of not rules to just have rules, but just to really keep everybody safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an outdoor area for people that have dogs?
I know we're in Lynnwood, and a lot of people hear our address on 196th, and they, a lot of times when I'm talking to them on the phone, they might have written us off just thinking of our location, but people drive by us every day and don't know we're here. We're pushed off the road a little bit. It's very green. We are right next to Gold's Park here in Lynnwood, almost in Edmonds. Yeah, a lot of people know us from being next to the ice rink, but it is very quiet, which surprises people. We have a beautiful horseshoe courtyard with a rose garden and a couple gazebos in there for places for people to read. And we do activities out there. It's very quiet. It's very green. It surprises people when they come and visit us.
How about, can people bring their cars? Is there parking available, or?
Complimentary with every apartment, you get a parking space.
And are the apartments like studio, one bedroom? Are there choices, or?
We do. We have choices between studios, one bedrooms and two bedrooms. We're actually celebrating our 35th anniversary as a community later on this year. Here's a plug. Everybody's invited. We're gonna really throw a big party and live music, but 35 years within the community. And yeah, so I forgot your question, actually. What was the original question?
The parking was the thing in the
Oh,
size
yeah.
of the units.
Yes. Everybody gets a parking space if they move.
And when is your event that you have coming up, the 35-year anniversary?
So that is September 26th. Let me make sure I say that correctly. It is September 26th from 1:30 to 4:30.
Can we post that on our site?
Would you? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We did create on our Facebook page. We did create an event already. It's up and able to view. And for outside guests, obviously it'll be free. We're going to have cocktails and food and music and big champagne toast. So it's going to be a fun event.
Can you talk a little about the transition? I mean, we've worked with several people that are moving from a longtime family home and downsizing into, in fact, your grandmother, my mother, we've done this a couple of times, and this is a tough one. So tell us the steps that are involved in transitioning a new resident into your facility, and how do you help them and their families through this process?
Yeah, I think this is the hardest part of my job. When somebody has lived in their home for 20, 30, 50 years, there's levels to that question, because you have memories in that, you have belongings, and to go through those belongings and decide, what am I going to take with me? And a lot of times people get hung up the most on the photos, the pictures, and they have family heirlooms, and maybe they have nowhere for them to really go. And so this is a challenge. Obviously, we have outside resources, people that we have relationships with that can help a little bit more in depth. We have good suggestions for people, but we also have those resources to help people have somebody come in the home, walk them through some ideas maybe that they hadn't thought of before. And it's going to be different for everybody. And the people that we have a relationship with, they're very good at what they do. They're on our call list because they're good at what they do. But yeah, that's probably the toughest part of the job. The next step would be, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go with the next step, and then I'll ask.
The next step is really, somebody might be giving up certain things in their home, but what are they gaining moving forward? And that's important. We focus more on that. Is it the socialism? Is that going to be something that is going to be really help that individual progress? It's going to be different for everybody, like I mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a welcome committee or a process that you go through that helps? Although you're right, some people are going to want to come in and they're not going to really want to socialize at all, and others are really looking for that. But what are some of the things you do to help them get integrated into the community?
Yeah, this is very important. We talk about this every day. So we actually have a full-time employee. Her name is Priscilla. She is a move-in coordinator. So her job is to make sure when people commit to moving to Brighton Court that they are going to not have anything surprise them. And that's very, including helping with finding movers. We have a relationship with moving companies because the last thing you want to do is call your family and have them move a bunch of heavy furniture. You got enough going on. Right? Once they get here, though, Priscilla and really all the managers will stop in, introduce themselves. Obviously, we have welcome information, though a lot of times people are read out. They don't want to read anymore. But we do have that information there for people. But we want to touch base with them often. And to really just say hi, check in. What can we do to help? How are things going? Open-ended questions. And then let them tell us what's going on. And then the more they talk, the more we know how to help.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
One of the toughest things that we're seeing with people is selling the house because they need those funds to make the move and getting out of the way to sell the house. It's like a catch-22. Do you have any suggestions along those lines? Do people?
I see all types of transitions. I do see easier transitions with people making the move before selling or sometimes even listing the house. Mm-hmm. They can, if they have the means available, they move in, they can move the furniture, and really they know they need items, TV, bed, big furniture, get comfortable in the home, and then they can come back and grab those other things that they think they really want. Typically, those are the easiest processed transitions for people, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I was going to ask you the same. What do you guys see?
If people can do that, but sometimes the money is not there to make. Approximately, can you give an idea of what it would cost to get in to make the initial investment in living in Brighton Court? Are there deposits? Are there?
We do take deposits. We actually have a waiting list of about 40 people right now. Although we have availability as well. I know that sounds strange, but people know they're going to move here. They've made some kind of financial commitment, which is honestly, it's only $350, 100% refundable deposit. But that gets them on a waiting list, and we actually have some benefits on that waiting list. Not only do they come to depositors' dinners and they can join our gym and use some of our amenities that we have, but it gets them in line for maybe a specific type of apartment. They want a 2-bedroom with a patio facing the courtyard. So then we can get them in line for that ideal apartment, or they have a specific timeline that just hasn't come up. They know they want to move here, but they haven't downsized enough yet. And then we take deposits directly on specific apartments. That gives people the first right of refusal on that apartment if somebody else comes in behind. So.
Wow, very cool.
Is there a buy-in, Cayce?
There's not a buy-in, no.
Okay.
We are a month-to-month rent. So we would, if anybody moved in and if they just decided it wasn't for them, we would hope they would give us a good chance. It's a 30-day notice.
That's nice. That's very nice. You mentioned some of the amenities. You have a gym, I hear.
Too.
What other sorts of things have you got there?
I think that our activity list is, I run a drum class. There's all sorts of activities that we do here, food related things inside and outside the community. We do hiking into different parks. We're always going to the Mariners game next week, which is going to be fun. So there's a lot of activities such as that. Inside the apartment, obviously housekeeping, we provide once a week. They come in and they do your linens and wash your sheets and your bed, and transportation's a big one. We actually have we have a full bus that has wheelchair accessibility and then a town car as well.
Oh, wow.
For those people that just decide they don't want to drive or they need a little help there, we actually have an 8-mile air radius around our community. We'll take them to an appointment or the grocery store and then pick them up.
Now, do those sorts of services, they probably run over and above the monthly rent, or do you?
No, those are all complimentary.
So if they wanted to take a hike with the group and there's no entry fee into the area you're hiking, there's no extra cost. But if they went to the Mariners game, there would be some extra cost.
You got me. Yes,
Okay.
There's a little extra cost there. Yeah, and we went to the casino. We've gone to St. Michel Winery, and there's a little extra cost in some events outside.
Okay.
Thank
you. All right. So how about customizing care when this new resident arrives? How do you set up that customization so this person is getting their needs met that might be very different from somebody else who arrived the day before?
And I think this is done ahead of a move-in. It's very important. Okay. We don't want there to be any surprises. So we have a full-time RN, and her job is sometimes she'll even go to people's homes and have an assessment. So we really, what an assessment is really a sit-down conversation to come up with a plan to help that future resident really be successful living here. What kind of care, what kind of costs are associated with that ahead of time. Now, I think it's really important too, because things change when people, or maybe they'd like to change something on their care plan after they move in that they didn't think about. We're always adjusting that. Nothing's set in stone when somebody moves in. So,
what about like memory care? Do you deal with memory care?
We're not a memory care community. We have relationships with other memory care communities around us. So if that if memory does become a next step, we have resources for people, and we can show them a few local options to help people. But I think memory is touchy because our rule is really, are people safe behind a closed door by themselves? Are they at wander risk? Are they safe living here? And that's the first question. And forgetting small things doesn't mean that anybody needs memory care. And a lot of times you will never need memory care. We suggest if this is a kind of type of community, because you will sense a little bit of a difference walking into different communities on level of care. But if this feels more like home, live here for as many years as you can. And then if that care ever rises, we have options for you.
How about Medicaid? Are you a facility that can take Medicaid recipients?
We're actually just a private pay community. I know that's a challenge for a lot of people out there.
Yeah. Okay. Any advice for people who are thinking about this transition? They're in their home and they're saying, maybe it's time to go. What do you suggest?
If they're thinking about it, really, it's important to really take that time and think about why I'm thinking about it. Because if you haven't been out and visited communities, getting out and visiting a few different communities and getting a good sense of where that next step would be for you. Because if a crisis does happen, you now know at least where you would like to go or not go. In some cases, just having a plan in place is really important. And that's why I mentioned the wait list. We do have people that have put deposits down. They're just not ready. Not to drive any fear out there, but just try not to wait until something happens. It's not an emergency. And independent living is a lot of fun here. And a lot of times people move in a little later than they had thought. And then they tell me all the time, I wish I would have moved here 10 years ago. So it's something that we don't obviously tell people when they walk through the door, but we encourage people to really just explore what's out there and know what the next steps are going to look like and have a plan.
Do you encourage people to have their families become involved in this transition with them? Or what do you see? Do you see families helping?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Absolutely. As many family members who want to come by, we'll buy them lunch. Let's get them involved in the community.
So give us some example of some of the other community events besides the cocktail.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We just had our Summerfest. So we had live music out in the parking lot and a big car show.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Show.
Big barbecue. I know a lot of communities have similar events. We have our luau later this month, casino night coming up. We have these.
Or do you have a casino?
We have a casino brought here. I mentioned the winery visit. We actually had so many people sign up for that winery visit. We couldn't get people there. A few weeks after we did the external event, we brought the winery to us. And we had 80 people sign up for wine tasting here in our bistro and did a little food with it. And it was fun. There's so many activities like that. We had a giant tea party.
Oh, fun.
Not all of us, I didn't dress up. A lot of fancy hats and tea and time to talk and mingle. It was a good event.
Sounds like fun. I want to come and play. And now, do you have additional Fairwinds Brighton courts anywhere else or only in Lynnwood or?
We do, yeah. The family has expanded throughout Washington and Oregon and it'll be on. But yeah, what's nice actually is the family for Fairwinds Brighton Court built this from the ground up 35 years ago, and it was their flagship community. So this is actually the first community that they ever owned.
Mentioned that if somebody was in an apartment and then their needs changed, say they were independent living, and then now they need assisted living, are they going to have to move to another section of the building?
Boy, it's a yes and a no. I know that's complicated. We do have 182 apartments here. We do have a section of the community that was an addition, and about 42 apartments, if I'm mistaken. But those 42 apartments never got licensed for assisted living. So those 42 apartments are independent.
Oh, okay.
So on those 42, yes. If the level of care is ever it comes to, we would transition to an assisted living apartment.
Okay.
The rest of the community, though, can have independent and assisted living in every apartment as needed. 140 apartments can actually you can live independently, but if you ever need care, floating license is there.
Mm-hmm.
Giant library up on the second floor, salon, foot care service, massage. There's a lot of amenities here that I haven't touched. We have a great resident council here, voted on by residents, and they actually run a store downstairs on our garden floor. They sell soaps and a lot of things that you'd want to just run and pick up quickly at the grocery store or actually in our store here at the community. And the resident council runs.
I was impressed when I visited you there, Cayce. People were smiling. Staff was friendly and outgoing. You had someone attending the gym. Now, is that a full-time position?
Yeah, we have a full-time employee. When that employee, her name's Carrie, she's amazing. She not only does personal training there, but she's been in the Edmonds Lynnwood community for years. And a lot of people took yoga classes or another type of class with her outside our community, and they move here and they're just so excited that they already have a connection. Yeah. She's great. She helps people get comfortable with the equipment in our gym, and that she actually does private one-on-one physical personal training. There is a little bit of extra cost, but it's bought way down. It's $10 a session for a half an hour of one-on-one help there.
I just thought having somebody in there all the time to help people understand the equipment, get in and out of the equipment was a pretty big deal. Most of the places I have visited, there's a room that very few people use because it's not attended by any staff members.
We have Alexa in there so people can go in there and turn on the music that they want. My office is right next door, so it's fun listening to what gets turned on. The other day, somebody turned bagpipe music on really loud.
Oh my goodness.
It's fun for a little while, but.
What's the oldest resident that you have there right now?
Oh, we have 3 in the 100 club.
Wow.
And I don't know, I shouldn't say any names, but yeah, we have 3 over 100. I think one is 101.
Wow.
Getting close to 102.
Youngest? The youngest?
Oh, probably 62.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's quite a variation in community. That's a good thing.
And we've had residents live here for 20 plus years, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cayce, you're in the industry. What are you seeing that's in the residential care industry? What kind of trends are happening, or what do you see happening in the future of facilities like yours?
I think there's going to be a little bit of a needs crisis, honestly. We're getting closer to the retirement age of baby boomers. And the interesting thing, we actually just talked about this recently. During COVID, a lot of building stopped, of not just retirement communities, but everything. And there's going to be a crisis. We don't have enough, we're not quite at 100%, but right now, but we are going to be full. And every community is going to be full very soon. So there's going to be a lot of need for in-home care, and it's going to be an interesting time. I'm excited, though, for the generational change of seeing what communities offer within the community, because I think a lot of activities are going to change, music and all sorts of different things. I'm excited, honestly. But
yeah, I was going to say, when us baby boomers start coming, you'll be getting all that good music. So.
That's what I like music-wise, too. So,
anything you want to add about the Fairwinds Brighton Court in Lynnwood, or about assisted living, independent living, that you want to add that we have missed in this?
I just really appreciate this opportunity. I can't say thank you enough. We work very hard to be a part of the community and communal activities where we give back. And I think just the more people learn about what we really have to offer, I think more people are going to be excited to see it in person. If it's something that you're considering out there and you stumbled upon this podcast, we'd love to host you and just pick up the phone and give us a call. We'd love to buy you lunch or dinner.
Is it possible to spend a night or two as a guest?
We did have that pre-COVID. We had a guest apartment, and we don't currently. Okay. We do, though, have what's called a respite stay. And a respite stay is the apartment that we keep open for people that need care, maybe from a rehab community, or they're being released from the hospital, but they don't feel comfortable going home right away. So they can move in here, get TV, bed, everything set up just like a hotel, but also have that care and that food provided to them on a daily price-based system.
That is great.
That makes sense.
Do you just have one, or how many of those do you have?
We have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Do you have excursions to the Edmonds Community Center on the waterfront?
Yeah, we were just down there and we did a big lunch giveaway. We go down there nearly every day.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a
very
fantastic
involved
facility.
Oh, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
They got so much going on. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Cayce. Judy, you have anything else to add?
I think that you've really covered all of it very well. Thank you so much, Cayce, for taking the time out of your busy day.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, your grandmother and my mother, she needs too much care, but I really had wished we had started there in the first place when she needed a place that had assisted living, because it's such a superior place than anything I have visited. And I think she would have been much happier there. So I think that's just a testament to the long-term stability and the atmosphere that the staff has created for this community. I was very impressed. Best of luck to you, Cayce. Somebody wanted, hey, that sounds great. Who do they call or where do they go on the web?
So they can visit our website, brightoncourt.com. They can give us a call. May give a phone number?
Sure.
425-775-4440. And thank you again for saying that, Dennis. We work very hard every day to try to create that culture in our community. But you never know how really people sense that when they walk in the door. So
I could sense it walking in the door.
Oh,
yeah. Not every place is like that. Believe me.
I agree. I'm biased though. So.
I know. You're my nephew. I love you. And I want the best for that. But really, truly, there is a big difference in quality and just atmosphere in a community. And you really need to find the right one for you if you're looking to go to independent living or assisted living. Thank you again. That's it for today's show. I hope this has been valuable. Thank you, Cayce Miller of Fairwinds Brighton Court, Lynnwood. Thank you, Judy, so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.